Howdy everyone, my name is Sam Revill. Thank you so much for joining me on this very, very special live stream. I have two massive Warriors fans with me tonight. I would not be doing this video without them. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to introduce you. First of all, hold the ball immediately to my left. How the hell are you, sir? And thank you for joining me.
Look, I'm good. As you know, I've got to do it. Hold the ball, HTV. I'm well, man. Can't wait. Thanks for having me on, bro.
100%, mate. I'm a massive fan of your channel as well. Please, everyone, if you haven't already, go and check out his channel and subscribe to him as well. And of course, no introduction really, but I'm going to give it to him anyway. Warriors NRL Fanatics. Hello, sir. How are you? Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, hi Sam, and hello guys tonight. Yeah, looking for the discussion on the New Zealand Rugby because it's a very interesting topic that I'm looking forward to chatting about. So yeah, looking forward to that. Yeah, thanks Sam for having on the channel. Really appreciate it.
Dude, anytime. You've had me on your channel a couple of times, man. I felt in debt to you guys as well. I feel even more in debt to you as well because ever since Todd Payton came in, I think we've signed up 3 Warriors players for 2022. So I'm sorry about that, boys. So look, let's start off things smoothly, right? And let's just have a very quick recap. This isn't a review, just a very quick recap on what went down for the Warriors in season 2021. They had... Let me see here. They had a couple of wins less compared to their previous season in 2020. And the way that they finished was poor in my opinion, but I think they got rid of some wood, some dead wood as well in the form of Kane Evans. And that is a performance that they gave in round 25 against the Gold Coast is something that has never been the Warriors, in my opinion. And I just want to get your reaction to quickly hold the ball. What your reaction is to the 2021 season, mate?
Look, overall, I think it was a season where there was definitely a lot of hope to begin with. Obviously, you don't play NRL to lose. So obviously, there was that hope, there was that drive. In saying that, a lot of things happened. I guess you can say players here and stuff. I think for me, it was a mixed bag. You had Reece Walsh coming right, awesome, amazing, all that good stuff. And then you had Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, who subsequently left. Pain, sadness, and I suppose, wondering what's going to happen. Overall, just to sum it up, though, it was good, it was okay, and it was ugly at the end. There's definitely a lot of room for improvement. So, yeah, let's look forward to that. So,
absolutely. Warriors, just a quick recap on how you felt about the 2021 season.
Yeah, look, I thought our season, was pretty average, pretty poor, from our side. So, look, for me, from my point of view, I thought it was a pretty disappointing season, and we had some shining lights here. We did have some shining lights with Reece Walsh playing, and the likes of and Fanua Blake as well had a great season as well. So there are some positives, as much as it doesn't look like there were many positives in the season. There was some positives to take. So, look, disappointing, obviously, but hopefully next year, we can do a lot better. So, yeah.
Absolutely. This year was probably tougher, in my opinion, than 2020. I know that they had to deal with it on the fly in 2020, but this year, mate, they had a few other obstacles, such as Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, they're leaving. So let's move on to the next subject. So just for the uninitiated, just want to go into a bit of Warriors history. So, look, New Zealand Rugby League, founded in 1909, but it wasn't until 1988 that conversations began about expanding the NRL into New Zealand. And in 1992, Auckland were indeed greenlit to enter the 1995 competition. And in their history, since they started in 95, whilst they haven't won a premiership yet, they have played in 2 grand finals, won a minor premiership, and 0. That's 0 wooden spoons there. Also, 69 players have represented New Zealand whilst playing for the Warriors. 90 New Zealand representatives altogether have been affiliated with the Warriors overall since 1995. So what I'd like to ask you guys, just to ease even more deeper into the conversation, I'll start with you Warriors, NRL Fanatics. Who's your top 2 favourite players, and what are a couple of your favourite club wins since 95?
Look, I'll go with the past player first, and then I'll go with current. So, past player for me is definitely Stacey Jones, and I idolised him a lot. Growing up watching the Warriors, and he was one of my favourite players. And everyone remembers that grand final try. Stacey Jones, and the game for the current player. To go with Rich. I think he's got a great future, very young, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he goes. So, that's my players. And for favourite club wins, I'm going to go with 2008 against the Melbourne Storm. I think that game was remembered for the Melbourne Storm. They were one of the top qualifiers, and the Warriors were like 8th. They finished 8th, and I remember this game very well because Michael Witt, he scored that try. That try to, he was taking forever to score. He was like wondering what he was doing, and ball down. And the Warriors, they managed to upset the Melbourne Storm on that night, on that day. So that was a great victory. And another one against Melbourne Storm. It's the second one. There's 2 actually, and this was in 2011 final there at Amy Park in Melbourne, and game with a bit of Sean Johnson magic, and Lewis Brown scored in the corner. So two of my favourite moments in the club history from 95. So that's 2 great games actually for me.
Nicely said, mate. Yes, yes. Mr. Hold the Ball, 2 favourite players and best club wins, mate.
Yeah, look, just quickly as well, to add on to your that New Zealand thing, 1909, I also believe we also played the first international match as well against Wales as well.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think we lost that one too, unfortunately. But anyway, my 2, so I'll just go with players first. So one of my favorite players was Manu Vatuvei. Obviously, think personal issues aside, as sort of like a young, Islander kid growing up in New Zealand, he was just like, someone I idolized, scoring tries, running over people, just the epitome of what it was to be like a typical hard sort of, style runner as a winger. So I like him, growing up as a kid. And for someone now, I can't go past Reece Walsh. He is the future.
Wow.
My literal sort of future plans for the Warriors, my ambitions, my dreams, premiership stuff literally rests on his shoulders. So definitely love him, love what he does, and obviously wishing the best there. Now regarding the wins, Warriors Fanatics actually stole the first one, 2008 against the Melbourne Storm. I remember watching that one as a young kid over in South Australia. That was a good game. Michael Wood as well, right? Just scoring that, that try. Thankfully he scored it. But I love being in the Storm. If you guys didn't know, huge fan of that. We haven't done so since 2014, unfortunately. So hopefully we can recapture some form next year. And the other game too, surprisingly, was actually round 3 against the Raiders, in 2018, where we sort of had like a last minute sort of win for that game. And sort of after that game, they actually found myself actually getting really emotional. You sort of get into it, you're invested. That was the game when I think we went on our 4-win streak or 5-win streak that year. But I just really love that passion that we showed there. Sean Johnson, Isaac Luke, Roger Tuvashashek, so on and so forth. So, those were my 2 favorite games personally.
Yep. I remember a game that happened in Brookvale. I think it was 2009. And the Warriors ended up pipping the Manly Sea Eagles. I think it was 26 points to 24. That's one of my favorite games of all time, really. It was an amazing contest. And Steve Price is up there for me so far as stalwarts. And young, what did I say young for? Kevin Campion. Yeah, no, he's not young. But no, Kevin Campion, forever. He's one of my favorite players that's ever donned a Warriors jersey for sure. So thank you for that. Like, I love hearing about stories about how you first got initiated into following and supporting the Warriors, or any club that you support as well. And if you're just tuning in, my name is Sam Revill, and I'm hosting Hold the Ball and Warriors NRL Fanatics. This is a discussion on New Zealand Rugby League, not just the Warriors, but we'll get into the Kiwi team all in due course. Now, let's move an eye towards a little bit towards the future, mostly the present. But look, I want to show you guys an image, if I may. And what we're going to talk about is 2022 roster prospects. So I'm going to put this one up now. And that is the forward pack. And from left to right, starting up the back, we have Pride, Peterson, Robati, Sirinen, Egan, Lodge, Aidan Fanua-Blake, Jazz Tavanga, Curran, Ben Murdoch-Masella, Taniela, Atokolo, Murchie, Katoa, Aaron Penne, the new recruit from the Melbourne Storm in the bottom right corner, and the current captain of the Warriors and the Simon Mannering medal winner for 2021, Tohu Harris. I look at that forward pack and I've got to crane me neck up to look at him properly because it's a pretty big forward pack, in my opinion. And I'd like to start with you, Warriors NRL Fanatics. When you look at that forward pack, how do you feel, and what do you think their prospects are?
Look, I think it's it's not a bad forward pack. I think we've really upgraded our forward pack over the last season. I personally think since 2018 we haven't had a good forward pack, and I think it's good that we've made more signings in terms of the forward pack for me. So I think it's a very strong pack for me. So I personally think that we don't need any more forwards. I think our forward pack's fine right now as it is. I'm pretty happy with it, to be fair. Actually, I think it's very strong, and I think that's the squad. That's the forward pack we should go with for next year.
Okay, interesting. I also so that forward pack is possible for round one because those are the players that are under contract. For example, if you didn't see Tom Ale in that photo, it's because his contract is just about to expire, and there's no word on whether or not he has re-signed, to my understanding. And Hold the Ball, can I get your reaction to what you see in that forward pack?
Look, I like what I see. But heading into next year, obviously, there's that fitness thing, there's that injury thing, touch wood. And on top of that as well, I think these rotations there, I do think, though, looking back this year just quickly, some of the players there I think will probably only end due to injuries, due to lack of, I guess, forward steps, should I say. So, for me, heading into next season, the prospect, I think, it's looking good. Obviously, we can all sort of say that, but it all sort of, matters on the field. So I'm just hoping that what I see there does translate. But I'm overall pretty happy. The addition of Aaron Penne as well should be a very good one. Katoa, Ben Murdoch-Masila as well, getting back from, foot injury as well. So, should be good. Looking forward to it.
Yep. And the reason why I put Elise Katoa as one of the three players up in the forefront, I think he has a massive future. If he can just stay on the field and stay healthy, he is a weapon. Absolutely. So I want to just quickly show you now another image, and we'll go through the back line for the New Zealand Warriors. And I'm sure immediately you can see the sky blue in the bottom right corner there as well, lads. But we'll start from top left and then work our way around. We got DWZ, Filiami Vailea, Aitken, Pompey, Berry, Kossi, Chanel Harris-Tavita, Marcelo Montoya, Nicarima, and the bottom three, Sean Johnson, Ash Taylor, and the big one for me personally, and I think every Warriors fan as well, wherever you are, Reece Walsh, Warriors NRL Fanatics. Can I get your reaction and how you think how that backline group is?
Look, I think it's I personally think we still need one more outside back, and then look, I know we all know that Dave Fusitu'a is off to England next year. good luck to him. But yeah, look, I think we need one side back. Besides that, it's not too bad. I mean, you got the addition there of Ash Taylor as well. So yeah, look, not bad. To be honest, not bad. It's not great. It's not great to be fair, but it's not a bad outside back. In terms of depth there. But yeah, for me, I just think we need one in there, like another centre or winger in that in that squad for me. That's how I see it.
And just before I go to hold the ball, there is an omission if you guys have picked up on it. Sean O'Sullivan isn't featured in that picture because his contract is run out, and to the best of my knowledge, if I'm not corrected, he hasn't been re-signed for 2022. So that's why Sean O'Sullivan is a glaring omission from that image. Hold the ball. Can I get your reaction to the image and how you think their prospects will be in 2022?
Let me guess just quickly, is O'Sullivan going to the Cowboys?
That's a negative. He might. On the way it's going, he might, yes.
Look, overall, the squad, I think, for me, is a bit of like
not be surprised.
Nostalgia meets the present meets the future, right, in Ash Taylor. Overall, look, like Fanatics said, you probably could do with another back, but in saying that, again, chemistry, let's see what happens. And on top of that as well, Sean Johnson being back, obviously, I think is a very big talking point we need to sort of address there. Can he lead us? Hopefully. We'll see what happens there. But it's good to have him back. It's good to have in my what I call him, dub him as the Warriors' son back. Our son's back, so it'll be good. Ash Taylor's interesting because obviously this is a guy who is now quote unquote kicked to the curb, so to speak. Warriors have given him a lifeline. Now, in terms of skill and stuff, we all look at that stuff, but I think for him, it's going to be addressing the intangibles, right? The things you can't see, the drive, the passion, the will. How badly does he want this? How badly does he want to, sort of make people believe in him again? And I think the Warriors giving him that lifeline, I think is going to be a good thing. And just to address Reece Walsh, well, yeah, like I said, the future there, you got Rocco Berry. We'll see what happens by there as well. Overall, though, good backline. So long as they're not injured, that's probably the main thing for me overall, collectively. As long as they're not injured, we'll see what happens. Shania Harris-Tavita as well will be interesting. We'll see what happens the 1st of November. But yeah, we'll see what happens though.
So just off what Warriors NRL Fanatics said, hold the ball. He said that he would like to see a signing in the centres or the wings. Would you like to see that happen as well? Hold the ball.
Oh look, yeah. If it's a marquee player, if it's a star player, right, like somebody who's going to definitely shift the team. But overall, I think you're probably better off blooding the young talent we have, particularly in Rocco Berry, particularly in, William Vailea. Obviously, they're not game changers now. However, that's the point of blooding talent as well, right? You sort of start them off young and just see what happens. But yeah, more to Fanatic's point, I agree. If we can get someone, sure. But for me, it's more so if it's a marquee player, if it's a star player. If it's not going to be a star player, let's just start with who we have and just move forward from there.
Warriors NRL Fanatics, mate. Let's address the elephant that's been in the room for half a year. It feels like Joseph Manu. Now, when you look at both of those images I've just shown, it isn't up to a 30-man squad yet, and apparently they're still sitting on a war chest. And as Warriors NRL Fanatics, mate, can I ask you, do you think you should go for Joseph Manu, and do you think there is actually enough space in the cap to go for someone that large for that amount of money?
Look, I think we've still got enough. I think we've still got enough space in the salary cap from my point of view. I think they've got a few like sort of Sean Johnson. I think he's not Sean Johnson. Sorry, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. I'll try and correct that. Yeah, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. So he's took a chunk of the salary cap for the Warriors. So him gone, and got Fusatua as well. He was on a lot of money, to be honest. There's a lot of talk around how much money he was on. So, yeah, look, I think we can. I personally think we can. Will he come to the West? I don't know. The Roosters, and will he want to leave a successful club like the Roosters? From my point of view, I think it'd be great to have him for sure. But, who knows? I mean, look, it's can the Warriors offer enough money to pursue him away from the Sydney Roosters? That's the big question for me. So, yeah.
And to hold the ball's point, it would be a detriment to the young players like your Pompeys and Cossies and Vialias that wouldn't get that first grade experience. And just another question without notice, lads, starting with hold the ball. Who would you take out of that back line if you went for Joseph Manu hold the ball?
Yeah, see that's sort of like the place I don't want to cross, only because, you know, of the obvious, like you mentioned, that the whole talent, you know, sort of being blooded or not blooded, should I say? But if I had to cross that path, I'd have to leave Rocco Berry. For me, he is point blank the future centre there. So I would have to probably drop the other centre, which would be Pompey for me personally. Yeah.
Warriors NRL Fanatics.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. I think you can't leave Rocco Berry out of it personally. You know, Joe Smarty's great. It's come to the I don't think we should sign Joe Smarty if that's the case. But if Rocco Berry's still got a future in the side and Joe Smarty's in there as well, I think, you know, you got to have both of them. You could have both of them in there. But for me, you know, Rocco Berry, I've said it a lot, you know, on my videos this year. He's the future of the club, and I've stuck by it. You know, I've got massive raps for the kid. You know, he hasn't played too much NRL this year, but if he does have a full season next year, I think he would have a big that's my point on my point on the Joseph Murray Rocco Berry thing.
Yeah, thank you for answering that, guys. That was a bit of a question without notice, and I just want to give my take as well. But I don't want to talk about the backline, guys. I want to talk about the forward pack, more specifically the hooking situation that they've got. So we've got Mr. Wade Egan, and I'll just bring up the photo just one more time. So we've got Wade Egan as your starting hooker, and then you've got Taniela Otakolo as well, and they must think very highly of him because he's signed up on a multi-year contract, unless if I went cross-eyed when I was reading the signings. He's signed up for the next couple of years as well, so they have an unproven Otakolo, with all due respect to that man, and then you got Wade Egan, who needs to have a glass of milk just about every time he hits the paddock, and that is my main concern for the Warriors' overall backline forwards. I think the hooking situation needs to be examined over the next from November 1st, basically. And Warriors NRL Fanatics, can I get your reaction to what do you think about the hooking situation, mate?
Yeah, look, you know, I think, you know, Wade Egan, I know a lot of people, you know, downgrade Wade Egan, you know, and say he's not, you know, look, he's not a Damien Cook or a Brent Smith, you know, he's a different player, you know, it's, you know, yes, he probably can improve, you know, in terms of his attacking game, you know, his running game could run a bit more, of course, but you know, defensively he gets the job. He's been up there this year in terms of defensive plays, you know, he's made a lot of tackles, and, you know, he's been with the look. I think Wade Egan's handy play. You know, if he can get if he can have a good squad, Johnson, will help him out a bit more in terms of giving him a bit more freedom for Egan. You know, so yeah, I think we've also got Otakolo as well. Don't forget we've got young Taniela Otakolo in the as well in the side. So yeah, I think you gotta make sure that you don't let go of the young talent like Taniela Otakolo, and, you know, think to the future as well, because obviously not going to be around for a long time. I know he's only young and that, but still, you know, you got the likes of Taniela Otakolo. So yeah, look, good quality. Why not after him? Then I'd at the moment Carlo, we can rock a Carlo in there. So yeah.
Thank you, Warriors NRL Fanatics. Hold the ball, man. How do you think the combination between Sean Johnson, Chanel Harris, the spine basically is what I'm asking, Walsh, Chanel Harris, DeVita, Johnson, and Egan will form, mate?
Yeah, look, I think it should be okay. In saying that, I do believe, once we play our first round game, round one, Sean Johnson will be the anchor of the attack. I believe that definitely. He said he's grown in maturity since being at the Sharks, and we're going to sort of be relying on that, aren't we, on the field? That combination between him and Chanel Harris-Tavita will be pivotal in regards to, that go forward. Again, Chanel Harris-Tavita will have someone in Sean Johnson to learn from, which will be good, and hopefully can grow his game. I do still view Chanel Harris-Tavita as a future player for the Warriors, so hopefully he continues with that. 1st of November will, I guess, tell us whatever happens. But yeah, with Egan and that Walsh thing, I think altogether the spine collectively, look, it'll be okay. But then you sort of mentioned that issue there of the hooking position with Otokolo as well. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, big fan of Otokolo, Daniel Otokolo as well, personally. So we'll just have to wait and see there. So, but yeah, overall, should be an okay spine. Fingers crossed. Yeah, should be all right.
So thank you, man. Thank you. So look, let's move on to the next subject, okay? Because I don't want to give away spoilers, so to speak. Like, where do we think they're going to end up, and this, that, and the rest of it. Because predicting what the hell's going to happen next week is hard enough, let alone 6 months away. But we will get into it in a little bit. So this is just something that has really not been talked about in any way, shape, or form, and it's kind of ironic that we're talking about it tonight as well, because I think now there's kickoff in the girls' soccer where 22,500 people are going to watch them at CommBank Stadium. But when we're talking about soccer, we're talking about what's happened to the New Zealand NRLW side, and the Kiwi players, the female Kiwi players who have had their plans disrupted majorly over the past few months. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, back in approximately June or July, the NRLW Kiwi players were asked to come over to Australia and start training. And after about a month or so, not only were they told that the season was going to be postponed, but they wouldn't be getting paid for it as well. And if that happened to an NRL first grader, if that happened to any of the girls that are taking the paddock at CommBank Stadium right now, there'd be an absolute uproar. And I just don't think they're talking about it enough. Now, it's bad enough if you were living in Sydney and you had to transition up to Queensland, but the fact that these ladies had to travel from New Zealand to travel over to Brisbane and not get paid a cent for it, it's not getting spoken about, and it's something that I really wanted to highlight. And hold the ball, if I can start with you, mate. What your reaction to Andrew Abdow pretty much saying sorry, but we're postponing and you're not going to get paid a cent for it?
Yeah, look, I think it's actually totally crap. Look, this is beyond politics for me personally. I think it's just pure common sense and human decency. The fact that, for example, let's just try it. Let's swap it. Let's say, for example, you get Australian and our players, like females, going over to New Zealand, and then there was like an announcement, that they weren't going to get paid, so on and so forth. Like, again, the same thing. Like, it doesn't matter where you are. I think it's just unfair. I know it's a big move, to come from New Zealand to Australia. Especially a lot of the time, a lot of Kiwis don't get Centrelink. I'm not sure if you know that, but these they don't really get the help there. So for them to go over there, their own accord, their own time, just to try and be part of that movement, and then for Abdo to say that and then to not even pay them, the guy has no idea what they're going through personally. He has no care. It shows you that man there, in that context, in the context of female rugby league, really doesn't care. I don't think he does anyway. How can he tell me he does when he's postponing it and they're not paying these players too? And now, for me personally, it's not on. It's upsetting in that sense that, again, just think about the people who've moved and have done what they've done. I don't think it's on. Not right at all. No.
Warriors NRL Fanatics, mate.
Yeah, I think Hold the Ball just perfectly said that very well, actually. And I think it's pretty, to be honest, I think it's that NRLW players, New Zealand Rugby League NRLW players, they don't get paid, and I think that's completely wrong. And it's not necessary. I think they've travelled all this way, to New Zealand to come and play. Off going topic here, the NRL haven't handled this very well this year. I don't think they've handled this very well in terms of, women's rugby league. I know there's a lot of debate around it, players, and, there's a lot of talk around it because, I watched the Ruin Hammer on Facebook. They did a weekly show, and they had the women's NRL players on. They had Georgia Hale. They had Karina Brown, Adi Brown, which is media person. They were talking about it, and how they were treated was really disgraceful and very disappointing. They only found out late. They found out late. All the players found out late. So from my point of view, that's completely wrong. And I think I know there's a lot of people that say they're just complaining and moaning and all that shit. But for me, they should be treated as exactly the way the men should be treated. That's my point of view on it. So, you treat the men NRL players well. Why don't you treat the women's players well for me? So yeah, that's how I feel about it. Really. Mind the women's game. I think it's an all right game. No doubt they can. But I think it's not a bad game, and I think they deserve a bit more respect. In terms of from the NRL from me.
I was watching an interview just before he came on, and there was this lady, I forget her name, unfortunately, but she was a part of Sky Sports, and she was interviewing someone from the NRLW, and she said, look, we're just semi-professional, and we sort of just have to not accept the sort of better deals that the first graders get. That's bollocks. You are professionals. You ladies play state of origin if you're not a New Zealander, but you're professional. And you want to play the game of rugby league, and you should be treated with respect. And the way that the NRL have handled these ladies has been poor. And I will be giving my TV ratings to the NRLW when they kick off in 2022, and again later on in the year. So I hope these ladies kill it. And the reason, and one of the other reasons why I wanted to talk about it, and that leads into our next topic, and that's the participation rate, boys. Surely this is going to dent the hopes and the desire to want to play rugby league, whether or not you're a male or a female. And it doesn't matter if you're a girl or a boy. You've just seen a rugby league player be tarnished and driven through the mud, basically. And New Zealand Rugby League, obviously, is not the highest port of call in New Zealand, and that belongs and will forever remain to the All Blacks as well. So I just want to get your guys' thoughts on the junior participation rates and the growth of the game in New Zealand. Hold the ball. Start with you, please, sir.
Yeah, look, I mean, I can sort of only speak on it, from an outsider's perspective, regarding what's happening in there. I'm not sort of there, doing the footwork, but in saying that, my understanding is, look, collectively, the things that happen there with the women, I don't think it's helpful at all, especially for the young girls who want to play, particularly. Obviously, you can imagine them looking at themselves and thinking, well, if that's going to happen to them, or what's the point in playing? You sort of touched on the All Blacks as well, and I think that's a key point to highlight. Their achievements and what they've done. I'm a one-eyed league man personally, so I get annoyed, speaking about the All Blacks. But what they've done, for the game and for the brand in New Zealand is second to none in New Zealand. And I don't think that New Zealand helps themselves either in the way they sort of administrate the game. That could be a probably controversial point there, but I think there's some things they should do that should be better. For example, New Zealand Rugby League will first place, right? If you guys didn't know, we're actually first place ranking, but they don't really talk about it. They don't really hype about it. There's not much there. You wouldn't even know that we're first place. You would have no idea that we are. But yeah, just going back to the junior. Sorry, just went off a tangent there. But to go back to the junior participation, yeah. Look, my thoughts on it overall, I'm not too sure how it'll go. My understanding is I think it is a bit, it is slowly growing, but I don't think it's going to get anywhere near the heights we want it to, unless we sort of get help from the NRL. That is my understanding. Unless the NRL can funnel through some money, I don't think, NZ Rugby League grassroots anyway is strong enough to sort of, go on its own. it might be. There's some competition there, but again, yeah, it's really hard to answer that. I can't really answer that in the way, yeah, you probably sort of feel like you got the right answer. We'll just have to wait and see, I guess. But that's my thoughts on it overall.
No one knows the bloody answer at the moment, you know, and like that's why I want to talk about it with you guys. Is you know, let's get the conversation sort of started, and let's try and nut things out. Much like, and this might hurt, this might annoy all Warriors fans when I mention this. Much like how when they tried to hire Gus Gould to do some things for the New Zealand Warriors about this time last year, I think it was. No, it wasn't. It was August that they signed up Phil Gould, and he only lasted until July of this season. I wanted to talk about Phil Gould in the participation section of this conversation because in the space of 7 months, he only visited New Zealand one time. And I find it very hard to believe that he could have really planted any sort of seed or offered any sort of true idea as to how to get rugby league as you know, at least competing with the All Blacks as far as popularity goes. And Warriors NRL Fanatics, mate, can I just get a reaction and get you to talk about how you felt about the Gus Gould deal and how it all went down and how it came to be?
Yeah, well, look, I was, you know, very keen. You know, I was looking forward to it, actually. You know, I was excited. You know, what I heard from Gus Gould, you know, he did a interview there in New Zealand, you know, there on Sky Sports, and it was on the YouTube channel there, Sky Sports New Zealand. So, yeah, I was, you know, what he said was very interesting, and how he wants to help New Zealand Rugby League, and, you know, not just that, you know, he wanted to help New Zealand Rugby League as well as the Warriors, and also, you know, he also talked about, you know, Pacific Rugby League as well. And I talked about that. He mentioned that as well, and how he also, you know, was, you know, at Sydney Roosters. You know, they asked him about the Sydney Roosters' role there when he was at Sydney Roosters was there. He was also, you know, look at the academy, and, you know, they've done very well. They've blooded some good players through the system there, you know. So, yeah, look, you know, I was very, very excited about it. And unfortunately, you know, when I heard the news that, you know, he can't do it, you know, which is totally understandable. You know, with the COVID situation, you know, it was always going to be hard to, you know, go back, you know, and do that role because, you know, he's not able to travel. And that's the reason why he decided to step down, and he stepped down. So, yeah, you know, I was gutted. You know, I was gutted that he was not going to hang around because, you know, I thought there was some promising signs for the future, what Gould said. And look, only one visit to New Zealand, which is, you know, unfortunate. You know, you can't really blame Gus Gould for that. You know, it's just unlucky. You know, with the whole year's gone. You know, the last 2 years, you know, it's not been great. You know, in terms of, you know, what COVID has thrown up in terms of, you know, everything. You know, that's the only reason why Gus, you know, decided that's it. I can't do the role because I can't, you know, get involved a bit more. He wants to get involved a bit more, and now he's a Bulldogs. So, yeah, was very very disappointed, obviously, but it is what it is at the end of the day. And, you know, good luck to Gus. But yeah, the Junior Rugby League, it's going to be interesting to see how that plans out, because what I've heard over there in New Zealand is, sorry if I'm going a bit long here, Sam, but you know, what I heard is they're starting up a competition there. You know, they're starting up a competition, so, you know, there's a few things going on there at the moment. So, yeah, that's you know, hopefully that all plans out. But it's hard to say. You know, it's really hard to say because you just don't know what's going to happen next.
No, you're right, mate. You're right. Gus Gould definitely, his tenure was COVID infected, almost 80%, 90%, mate. But in saying that, I just feel like it wasn't ever going to happen, honestly. And that's not a detriment or disrespect towards the Warriors club. It never felt like he was going to stay there for more than a year, and that's exactly what happened. And hold the ball, mate. How did you think about the whole Phil Gould? Not fiasco, might be too hard of a word, but the whole situation, mate.
Yeah, look, for myself, I come from two positions. One a place of understanding, and another place, sort of like, I suppose, just pretty devastated about it, considering what he can produce, considering his knowledge, right? You just want that wealth of knowledge, and he has it. Overall, though, like just looking at it in hindsight, yeah, it probably wasn't going to work out well. My only issue, though, is obviously when the Bulldogs offered him something, he said, nah, I'm going to stick with the Warriors. And then he subsequently went to the Bulldogs. So that is my only place of, uncertainty. But just going back to what Fanatics even touched on as well, the competitions. I think, though, his little tenure, I hope, my hope is that he gave New Zealand Rugby League a bit of a blueprint and how to do things. That's my hope anyway. I don't know what happened. A bit of a blueprint how to do things. And I do believe he's still in contact with the Warriors. I think. I'm not too sure, but I think he is. I'm not too sure as to what extent, though, but I do believe he does sort of liaise and work with the Warriors briefly regarding, I think, development and stuff, I think. But yeah, no, overall, look, it is what it is. You can only zoom so much. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So let's move on. Let's move on to the next subject, right? So, and this is something I'm really excited for, and I hope this really comes to fruition next year. The New Zealand Test team. Now, it goes without saying that Test Rugby League in all corners of the planet has been affected, and it looks like that things are up and running next year. And if I may, I want to just display a photo for you. So the last time that the New Zealand Kiwis played was in 2019 at Orange Theory Stadium in Christchurch, where they defeated Great Britain. Last time they actually played Australia was just a couple of weeks prior to that encounter. And then this is the possible schedule, and this is what I'm really excited about. Anzac Weekend Trans-Tasman Test. The New Zealand Rugby League Board have been talking about it and been pushing not only for that, but for a June Pacific Test as well. And obviously the World Cup is hopefully going to happen and should happen at the end of next season. Hold the ball, mate. Can I ask you, who do you want to take on in that June Pacific Test, bro?
Yeah, look, just quickly, while we're talking internationals, France and England play as well today. Their time, England and France will be playing each other. So, yeah, it's good to have rugby league back. So that's good there.
Yeah.
Look, for me, New Zealand, I reckon it'll be a good test to verse Samoa. I think that'll be some good team to verse. I'm not going to go through the players there, but they've got some very good individual players who I think could even test Australia as well. So yeah.
And Warriors NRL Fanatics, mate, who do you hope that you take on next June, mate?
You know what? I wouldn't mind a game against Tonga, actually. Tonga's, one of those teams that has, improved massively over the last couple of years, actually. And remember that Tonga did beat Australia last time they played them. So, you know what? Tonga, New Zealand did lose to Tonga in the World Cup last time out. And obviously, I think we played them. I can't remember when, but I believe we did beat them. So, it'd be great to play Tonga again. It's 2018. Yeah. So, yeah. I love to see us play Tonga. Actually, I think that'll be a bad matchup because Tonga's got some great players. New Zealand, good young players coming as well. A very interesting match.
Yes. So, and just another question without notice, guys. Where would you guys like to see both the Trans-Tasman Test take place and the Pacific Test take place? For me personally, guys, that Trans-Tasman Test should be allocated to New Zealand, 100%. I know Australian supporters are going up in arms at the moment. No, you can't take that away. No, we want to support Australia too. New Zealand are starving for some good bloody consistent sport at the moment, guys, and it would not be right for us to take that Trans-Tasman Test off. I'd love to see Eden Park absolutely sold out next year for that Trans-Tasman Anzac Day clash. Hold the ball, mate. Where would you like to see that Trans-Tasman Test take place?
Yeah, look, first, I actually appreciate your well thought answer there regarding New Zealand Rugby League and having the game go, to New Zealand. So I appreciate that. For myself personally, look, yeah, I agree. Obviously, in New Zealand, in Eden Park, and if they can't do that, Mount Smart, or wherever, go to Wellington, the Cape Town, or even go to the South Island, But yeah, definitely in New Zealand, anywhere. And were you also asking for the Pacific Test as well?
Yes, mate. Yes, please.
Yeah, I reckon the same thing in New Zealand, Mount Smart Stadium. Lock it in.
Yeah, absolutely. Warriors NRL Fanatics, mate, where would you like to see the Trans-Tasman Test take place?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with both of you. I think it should be in New Zealand, no doubt about it. I think, instead of Rugby League, I think, it's been a while since we played a test match in New Zealand. So, even an ANZAC test, it's been a while since we had a ANZAC test in New Zealand. So, yeah, of Auckland, you got Mount Smart Stadium there, you got, Eden Park, obviously, as well, and maybe take it to somewhere like Hamilton, why not play in Hamilton or somewhere like Christchurch? I think, it'd be pretty good, actually. I think it'd be not a bad way to spread the game around if it's anywhere but Auckland, I think. So, yeah, look, anywhere in New Zealand, I don't mind it, as long as we can get a test match on the ANZAC test match.
Yes. And what I want to do now, guys, is just overlay the screen. And this, excuse the bottom banner, so that is the squad that was announced earlier in the month. If you can't see a couple of those names, I apologise. It is a bit crass. But I see a couple of good names there. I'm surprised by Aaron Clark's inclusion, just quietly. So, guys, who would you have as your... sorry, let me just do this. Sorry. Who would you guys have as your New Zealand captain? As I believe it was Benji Marshall that was the captain in that 2019 in that test against Great Britain. Who would be your New Zealand captain? Hold the ball.
I reckon. Look, for me personally, we're going in that new direction of young and up and coming talent. I'd personally have either Dylan Watene-Lesniak if he got picked, or go with James Fisher-Harris. Sorry, I'll probably pick him. I think he's got some very good qualities there, not only as a player, but again as that leadership stuff that I think would be pivotal for the New Zealand team. Sorry, heading forward. So yeah. Probably him.
Yes, Warriors NRL Fanatics, mate. A captain for New Zealand come, I think, about April next year.
Yeah, I think it'll be Dylan, actually. He's been captain before. There's no reason why he can lead the team around the park. So, yeah, Dylan, I'll go with Dylan Watene-Lesniak for sure, I think. And another option I think would be a good captain. Look, I know this might be a bit questionable. I know some people might not like this, but I've gone with Sean Johnson, actually. I think, second option for me. But preferably Dylan Watene-Lesniak, I think, would be the good captain for the Kiwis, because, of his experience that he's done it before.
Yeah, hold the ball, stole the words right out of my mouth. I think James Fisher-Harris, with that C next to his name, would be outstanding, and he'd be even more scary than what the bloody big bugger is now. So what I want to do now is just begin to wrap things up now, boys. And I want to... we were sort of talking about it there just a couple of minutes ago. And that's the location of the Warriors next season. We know that they're going to start the year, probably play the first 6 rounds at least in Moreton Bay up there at Redcliffe. I cannot for the life of me still figure this out. I know that it's probably just easier, simpler, safer to have the team do the entire off-season, pre-season up there at Moreton Bay in Queensland, new surroundings, not down there in Gosford anymore. I still cannot for the life of me understand why they have not taken the Warriors squad back home yet, considering that we have NFL teams traveling from America to the UK to play games. We had only a few months ago in the Bledisloe, we had Australia travel over to New Zealand to take them on as well. I cannot still for the life of me understand why the Warriors are still marooned here in Australia. Warriors NRL Fanatics, mate. Are you happy to continue to see this?
Yeah.
Or would you like to see in the next month or two someone come out and say, yeah, round 1, Mount Smart?
Look, going off, what you said there about, why the Warriors can't go back to New Zealand. Well, it's pretty simple. It's the New Zealand government, and look, all they pretty much care about is, the All Blacks and all the teams. They don't really care about New Zealand Rugby League. They don't care about Warriors, and that's why I personally, and I think the New Zealand government's, very disappointing. Allow, cricketers or rugby players, to travel home. Why not allow the Warriors to travel home? I just think it's really ridiculous, from my point of view. And look, in terms of the Warriors coming home, yeah, I'd love to see us play a home game next year. Absolutely, no doubt about it. They deserve to have some games at home for sure. The fans has been starving for some footy. I know I've heard a lot lately. A lot of Warriors fans, they're upset about not having games at Mount. Why not? I think they should have a game at Mount Smart. Sure, I think. Look, I don't think it'll be early in the season. We'll have to wait a bit for sure. I think that's the way I see it. Unfortunately, happening. I think we'll have to wait. Unfortunately, New Zealand's still going through a COVID crisis there. There's still a few issues there in that country at the moment. Unfortunately, back home there. Yeah, I'd love to be at Mount Smart for sure, but unfortunately, I think it'll be a bit of a wait. I don't think it'll be round one because at the moment, what the club's saying is they're going to play a few games here first, and they're going to see what happens with the situation. That's what I heard from Cameron George, so CEO of Warriors. So, yeah, I think, unfortunately, we'll start the season. Majority of games will be played here. Then we might have a few. I think that's the way it's going to go. Unfortunately, I think.
Thank you, Warriors, man. Thank you. Hold the ball, dude. What are your thoughts, mate, about the Warriors still being marooned here in Australia?
Yeah, look, I think it's quite devastating. As the rounds go by, as the years go by, you're just missing another chance to see the Warriors play, the New Zealand Warriors play. Should I add? Back in Mount Smart. Overall, though, I understand, right? I get it. COVID's nothing to joke around with. But then when you sort of see the All Blacks touring America, you see the cricket, you sort of see, for example, Wallabies have been back and forth. And I think, Australia and Japan have played each other in the rugby as well. When you sort of see those things, again, it just makes you question why. But, there's not much you can do about it. I almost think, though, to a degree, rugby league in general, in response to COVID, has been very... It's been very touchy. I think they've been very almost like they just don't want to do anything with it. Hence the reason why the World Cup was postponed and so forth, right? But again, just more so to Fanatics' point as well. Yeah, the New Zealand things are happening there at the moment in New Zealand, and obviously nobody wants to get infected with COVID and spread and so on and so forth. So yeah, look, it's quite devastating. But in saying that, I thank the NRL for actually letting the boys stay at Redcliffe, where the Redcliffe Dolphins are for now. I appreciate them actually housing him and looking after him in that sense financially. So, you sort of look at it two ways. One, it's devastating, but two, the NRL have been supporting the boys and been looking after, us, so to speak. So I appreciate it.
Yes. So next season, boys, last year or even earlier this season, I was saying that 2022 is a watershed year for the Warriors. And that was under the proviso that they'd be back at Mount Smart for round one. That's not going to happen, unfortunately. And I think 2023 is going to become more so that watershed moment. But they are building up to 2023 in the upcoming 2022 season. And I still think they need to make finals. I think whilst their squad is still, it's just lacking a little bit of zing, just a little bit of zing. Reece Walsh provides that. Sean Johnson will. I just think there's a little bit of zing missing from the Warriors that can be rectified with an off-season purchase at this point in time. Do I see them playing finals? I think I have them about 7th to 12th. That's where I'd have them in 2022. Warriors NRL Fanatics, mate, where do you see the Warriors ending up? Just a quick prediction, and also is finals an absolute must? Is it absolutely crucial? Of course it's crucial, but is it a must? There's no negotiations about it.
Before getting into the prediction, before saying my prediction, obviously finals are definitely a must. You know, I said, I said it in my season review. If we finals next year, it's going to be a massive failure, sure, because I know we've been based in Australia again this next year as well. We based in for a few games, but finals, you've got to be in the finals. There's no excuses whatsoever from my point of view, regardless, So, yeah, look, for a prediction, look, it's very hard. It's very difficult to make a prediction right now, to be honest. Look, I think we could finish 8th or around 8th to 12th. That's more realistic for me. I think around that 8th to 12th position for me. So, yeah, to be realistic, around that position.
Yes. Hold the ball, mate. What do you reckon about next year, mate?
Yeah, look, simply put, it's top 8 or bust, I think. And the reason being is because like you said, we've now put in time into these resources now allocated for the Warriors. Like we know where we're going to be. We're going to be in Australia. We'll be playing, in Queensland or wherever it is in Australia. So yeah, there's no excuses there. It is a must. It's a necessity. It's a need. It's a drive. All those sort of words there. If we don't get to the top 8 next season, for me personally, we you normally sort of turn around and look at your shoulder and who's standing there. It's normally the coach. So I sort of see the emphasis on the coach, Nathan Brown. I think his target is definitely top 8, because if we don't make it next season, I know for a fact that I'm pretty sure we're going to be looking at him and asking him a few questions. So yeah, it's an absolute necessity. And for me as a fan as well, personally, it's a must. I'm just sort of sick of us not making the 8 personally. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Nathan Brown could be on the chopping block come round 20 if they're not in the finals frame. And just as off the top of my head thought, mate, I can't disagree with you there, bro. I think he'd be well under pressure to keep his job if they're not in the finals frame after 20 rounds of football, sort of thing. Absolutely agreed. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. That's it. I think we've exhausted all corners of the compass. Hold the ball, mate. Thank you so much again. Where can the good people out there find you on all social media platforms, man?
No worries. Look, just to put out there publicly, I'm not the best at sort of promoting myself personally. You sort of either find me or you don't. But you can see me at on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Sort of dabble there. A little bit of Spotify work, but I've got to work on that. But yeah, look, YouTube's the main thing. So yeah, just find me, hold the ball. So yeah.
No worries. And Warriors NRL Fanatics, where can people find you, dude?
Well, you can find me on YouTube, which is Warriors NRL Fanatics, and you can also find me on Instagram as well. I'm a bit active on there, so that's at Warriors NRL Fanatics, and I'm also on Twitter at Warriors_NRL. So you can check me out on all those platforms. But yeah, main YouTube and Instagram, I'm more active on.
Yes, sir. My name is Sam Revill. Again, thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you've been in the live chat, and the live chat has been ultra respectful from what I've seen. So that is much appreciated to all of you guys. Enjoy the next couple of weeks. I think the draw is rumored to be out next week. So we'll all be circling, where the Warriors will be playing and who they'll be playing. I hope it's against North Queensland. And then we'll have some banter between me and Warriors NRL Fanatics and hold the ball over the next couple of months. Again, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time. Adios, everybody.